Ditka's kind of coach that they show a lot of the sidelines too, though. That's the classic thing about some of those coaches, Parcells, and ones that are more animated or whatever.
Well, I think when you got personality, you're sort of mediagenic, you know, so they have to focus in on that. I mean, he's sort of a euphemism for his team. They play a kind of aggressive, you know, I'm going to run into you, knock you down, not run out of bounds type of play that he and George Halas and the Bears kind of originated in the, I guess it was the late 50s and 60s. I was surprised Ditka was only...
Nobody was really hitting too good before the late 50s?
No, and then football. Some guy ran out of bounds.
They'd all try to leg tackle more or something?
Well, and then some guy ran out of bounds for the Saints, and they go, that's not Ditka-like. You know, they would approve it more if for Ditka would like it better if the guy tried to run through him than run out of bounds. You know, just because that's the kind of way Ditka played.
Did you ever see Ditka play?
Yeah.
And did he play that way?
Yeah.
And did he get hurt a lot?
No.
Not
really.
Too bad? He was all right.
I mean, I don't know. Nothing that they ever really talked about much. So did you hear Mickey Rourke was in a new movie called Kid Pisces? It's about a nihilistic revolutionary that has no conscience or soul.
Who's it patterned after? Anybody?
He says he blacks out at, you know, most Pisces. Says he blacks out during sex and violent acts, you know. That way he doesn't have to claim responsibility.
So is that what he does in the movie? He blacks out a lot?
Huh?
Does he black out a lot in the movie?
No.
Or is there no sex and violence in the movie?
There's a lot of sex and violence, but he kind of somnambulistically goes through it.
Somnambulistically?
Yeah, it means like sleepwalking.
Huh. So does he give it an ethereal, like kind of like surreal effect there?
Oh, yeah.
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 That's what Mickey's movies do a lot, I think.
Yeah, and then in the middle of it, he turns like into a professional boxer called Kid Pisces.
Huh.
Yeah, it's got a real interesting soundtrack.
That's the thing about Pisces is it's timeless, that Piscean energy, though, you know.
Kind of like Johnny Cash.
Is he a Pisces?
Yep.
He's playing in a prison, that's typical, isn't it?
Well, actually, you know, that was a good idea, you know, at the time. A lot of people have done that since, but...
Was he kind of the original on that one?
Yeah, because he knew that the audience gave him a kind of energy because of, obviously, their pent-up situation that, you know, he couldn't duplicate anywhere else, and it kind of, you know, stirred...
But did they do live albums like him on that?
No.
But he did a live on that, right?
Yeah, right, but then after that, you know, B.B. King did an album in prison, and
so
other artists have subsequently done, you know, similar things, but it took him a long time to, like, you know, convince, you know, people at Columbia to do that, you know, and then it...
So did he do it a lot?
No, he made one other album, you know, Johnny Cash at San Quentin.
But, like, before he made the album, he had set the precedent of doing it, like, getting clearance and all that, because I'm sure there was a lot of that had to happen, right? Like, where you go through channels, proper bureaucracy to get the, you know, affirmation to come on in and play for the prisoners? Or was it just like he showed up at the gate?
No, it was mostly you just had to get, like, you know, approval, like, with the record company to back it.
I just don't understand how many times he did it. Was it like a thing he did it once, and like you said, he liked the energy, and so Johnny Cash played in Folsom and San Quentin?
No, he played like, you know, a number of times, and then he realized this would be a great situation to make a live recording.
That's what I was thinking.
Which at the time, you know, seemed kind of incongruous to the powers that be, and they just didn't, you know, because I mean, like, you go inside a prison and make a live album. It just seems sort of like strange.
How do you market it?
Yeah, but it became...
What do you think about when an artist that you maybe don't like does an artist that you do like? Is it an automatic bias in that, you think? Or have you ever been changed by that, where you didn't like an artist and then you heard him do a tune by an artist you liked? And is there anything that you could think on that level? Or is that happen?
No, usually I'm into kind of like songwriters that, you know, represent their own work. So the only time my opinion might change on somebody is when they have an initial thing that kind of catches fire, and then the money people sort of get into it, and all of a sudden there's a lot more orchestration. Rap's got a big influence, you know. I think people still listen to music constantly as a backdrop to their lives, you know, and there's a kind of poetry that musicians that are popular get into consciousness that in a way, like, can't be duplicated by anything else. Internet, it's like a voice, you hear that you identify with, that almost becomes your voice.
Right. I think it just had to do with like the orchestrational aspect of it, though, where you go, you know what, it's like in today's thing, it's like, the numbers are up on the number 3 song and the number 4 song. It's not quite so up. So that means the next album should sound a lot more like the number 3 song, or I don't know. You're never going to promote like guys that's, set up ideas that you can't market in a Disney Cup or in that kind of thing. And Leonard Cohen doesn't really promote those kind of ideas and messages. Like a lot of the popular songs are always cheesy, right? They're always, they leave you with a kind of like this Hollywood ending kind of feeling, right? And that's ultimately what's going to become popular or something. That one comedian from Scotland, Connolly, I forget his first name, talked about why he likes America because they're so positive, he said. He said over in Europe or in Scotland, everybody's like kind of dreary and just more cynical, I guess. And he said that's why he wanted to raise his children here and that whole thing, because it has that positivism slant a lot in America. And a lot of these artists, that are way more in tune with the pain that is reality, like Leonard Cohen, and can articulate it on those kind of levels, how he feels. Like I'm just saying, they just don't get the promotion in this culture because there's an emphasis on that positivism, maybe, or something. Scotch. Your tires look good too.
Right. Yeah, actually, call.
He's like Clinton, he's just doing the head bob. Have you ever noticed on the show you do the head bob at all after you make a good point?
No.
You don't do the head bob, do you? What is the feeling when you land a good thought? Can you describe it?
Well, if it's within the boundaries of what somebody can, fathom, it's cool because you've made something clear to somebody that, before, they kind of, had a question mark about. But you have to make it clear within their frame of reference.
And sometimes it makes it clear for yourself, too. Have you ever noticed that? It's kind of a neat thing.
Not really.
Not really a neat thing.
Yeah, sometimes I'm kind of shy around people. And, like this week, my astrological prediction was that I could change the rhythm of my life if I was just to make my thoughts or not my thoughts or things that I kind of wanted to have from somebody a little bit more specific. They said if I made that clear, it would be kind of like an incantation. So, you want to go up to somebody and say, instead of do you believe in magic, do you say, do you believe in incantations? See, most of my friends are county workers, laborers, trench diggers. We're simple people. Potato eaters. We don't ask a lot of life. We don't abuse waiters or waitresses. We don't play games in public. We're not exhibitionists.
Do you have any negative qualities at all? Or?
Yeah, I do. But they're so negative and dark that I just really can't share them with anybody.
How about your friends, at least? Maybe? Just don't say they're yours.
Yeah, well,
That's
last time,
I
think I really tried being honest with somebody.
Blew up.
Blew up in my face.
I had the same thing.
Like gunpowder. Like gunpowder. Somebody lit a match to.
So
I think it's better
how do you learn
really,
to trust your own thoughts?
No, well, I think at a certain point you realize that there are certain things that a man must do alone.
Like die?
I like at work, he's kind of retiring his spat. He said he couldn't find salvation in that form of labor anymore. It was just too stressful. And he asked me, yeah, he says, have you ever had that kind of problem with a job, where you didn't want to be there? I go, well, yeah, about every job I ever have.
No kidding.
Not because I found, the work so unbearable, but just there's a routine that becomes a grind that, people have to kind of face up to if they want to keep a roof over their head. And, I don't know, to me, when you kind of go through casuistries, these little rationalizations about salvation and seeing things through or not seeing things through, it can be kind of existentially defeating if you mislead yourself about the facts that lead to your own demise.
And I think in America, everybody just wants to make $27 an hour. And when you're not, you always feel like, why are you there or something? And that's the tough dilemma people have a hard time, I think, with or something.
I don't have that dilemma, really. But I live in my own fantasy world. So no matter where I am, I'm not exactly there, if you know what I mean. I've never thought of hourly wage as something that kind of really troubled me or left me in a restless state of mind. Though I can see where if I was a Capricorn and needed a cash flow, it would bug the hell out of me.
I'll be fine. You're not even on my mind.
What's fair? What's fair? Here's my sunglasses. These aren't the pair I was looking for, though. What's fair? What's fair?
So do you think being socially adept, do you think that's something you can develop, or do you think that's something sort of that you have? Like Clinton, that's real Clinton's thing, isn't it? Don't you think, these guys? I guess,
I think,
to describe it.
I think you get as socially developed as he did because out of necessity you learn those skills to survive. I think a lot of times if you come from an awkward upper middle class background where you're left to your own form of deviant behavior and your parents stay married for whatever reasons, you don't have to have social skills. You can just lock yourself in your room with a large collection of music. Never talk to anybody. I did. For years.
And is that a very fulfilling thing, or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, today's Sunday. And tomorrow's Sunday, too. I think everybody's just in it for their own selves, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But on a more positive note. Do you ever deal on? That's one perception for sure, and there's definitely. Do you blame them? I guess maybe a better question. Do you blame them? Do you hold it against them?
Yeah, I do. Because once you leave the self behind, it's a much easier climb. You lose all that baggage, self-promotion and ego. You can't justify that type of behavior just because everybody else does it.
I think the only thing obviously there would be you're caught up in a little bit of that judgmentalism trip. You obviously can't really judge people if you don't have an ego or that kind of thing, right? If you're trying to find that space mentally. If you're sitting around just going, yeah, I'm so enlightened because all you guys are just so screwed up. That's kind of an edged out enlightenment, isn't it? Is that what you consider yourself? The enlightenment edged? The edged of enlightenment?
Yeah, I'm going to start a new ashram called Edged Out Enlightenment. For those people who kind of want to go to the threshold of insanity. Well, this girl's stealing somebody's bike, Ed. Oh, it's your
no
bike.
problem.
I didn't want to bug you guys.
Oh, we appreciate it.
So, yeah, no, there's a lot of promise in those words, Mr. Murdock. I'll tell you, I personally, if you could crystallize for me some of that, what you were talking about.
Well, see, what happens in like spirituality, my friend?
What
You have to eliminate
in
that.
a generic sense.
You have to eliminate that parochial school background you had. Things are not crystallized. It's like, you know, it changes like the wind. It's not crystallized, you know. And maybe the final emotion you feel will be fear and pain. I can't really give you salvation. I can't even give you hope. I can just try to help you cope. I can't even do that very well. You know, it's an individual thing, man. Maybe your body chemistry's screwed up. Maybe you got this fixation with wanting to have things crystallized. It just ain't quite that way, Jack. It ain't that way. It's not true. Wow, there's my ex-old lady. I haven't seen her for 8 years. She's gotten fat and ugly. I feel so good about that. I haven't changed at all. I'm still the young, handsome, erudite poet I was 20 years ago. I made a deal with the devil!